Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm excited for you to join our session today that we titled "The Last Billable Hours Spreadsheet You'll Never Need." I'm here with Melissa. I am one of the founders of LeanLaw and CTO here. So I like build things. They let me out briefly from my little engineering dungeon to talk to you guys. Melissa, can you say a few words about what your role is here?
Yeah, I'm Melissa. I'm LeanLaw's product manager. I started in our support department, and for the last few years, I've been working with Fred, talking to customers and working with the engineers on what we build, making sure that it solves problems for law firms and helps them run better businesses.
Awesome. Um, it's going to be a very interactive session. We don't have slides. We're just going to show stuff in the product and talk about some exciting things we have going on. We'd encourage you to ask questions or join your chat. We really would like for you to be engaged here with questions or anything like that. Um, just very briefly about LeanLaw. I'm not going to do a whole LeanLaw spiel here. Assume that you know something about the company, but at the surface, LeanLaw is a client. You manage your clients and matters. You track time. You track expenses. You do billing, trust accounting. It's a billing and time tracking and reporting system for a law firm. But if you look a little deeper, LeanLaw is really here to help you be a better business, to manage your revenue operations, and to give you like real-time insights that can make your business better. And that sounds kind of like a bunch of buzzwords if you if you ask me. But I hope this session will like make that more concrete. Like we're going to show some stuff where that's actually hopefully connecting with real scenarios. Melissa, who should be in this call here? Who is this for?
Yeah, I think this is for like operators, bookkeepers and accountants potentially, and managing partners. We've heard, we have a lot of reports in lien law, and in talking to firms, we found that many folks are, we have the report in lien law, they download it, and then they still need to do some like transformation in Excel, like add in some other data points that aren't in lien law to get the final result they need. And that's kind of a tough process if you have something like a billable hour goal that you kind of need to be checking in on like at least once a week. Having to do that manually once a week is quite a burden, and we want to help you, do things like that and just have those pieces of data available real time without a bunch of work on your end. So you can, if you're a managing partner, you can check in on it. If you're trying to help people remember to put in their billable time, you can find that really easily, and it's not so laborious for you. So you can, free yourself up for more strategic work, like actioning on the data and the insights that you have instead of just, producing those reports.
Nice. Let's get into it. Like Melissa said, we have a bunch of reports in Lean Law that can give you data. But what we ran into was we have lots of clients with special requirements and data where they were using downstream processes to get what they needed. So how we solved this in some cases by building in more stuff into Lean Law that would solve that. But we took a step back and decided to make a more general mechanism here where you can inject your custom data into Lean Law and then use it for data and workflow purposes. And we're going to go through three examples of this. We're going to do three concrete examples of how you can use this. I'll start, and then Melissa will take one, and I'll finish with the final one. They're really meant to sort of get the juices flowing and make you think about in your business, what would this look like? So they're just examples of what this might look like. Um, Sound good, Melissa? Shall we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay, we'll get into it. We'll start with what the title of this webinar suggested. We have a bunch of uh, timekeepers in our system. Um, you can see them here on this page. Courtney, Fred, Jessica, etc. Attorneys or paralegals in the system tracking time. Now, for each month here, I have created a report that showed total hours, billable hours, and then we added this billable goals field. That's a custom field in the system. It's not built in, but it's something that this law firm that we're pretending to be added into the system and then created a custom report from. So I can now see on a monthly basis, we're halfway through May or over halfway. Oh my God, time flies. And we can see here Amos is doing great. Jonathan is not, and we can look back in time here, and this might be part of your enumerate your compensation to some of these, or it might just be productivity tracking. So that's an example of a real hands-on report that can make, put some spotlight on productivity in the firm. The way it works, just to sort of briefly go over to sort of mechanics of how this works, is that we have a section here under our settings where you can define custom fields. And I defined one called hourly budget here, which is associated with a user, and it's a number. And then for each user, I can go over here on this page. Sorry, let me zoom out a little bit, and we can enter this value here for each of the users to then be used for the report I just mentioned. So that's one way that this new mechanism can be used to your advantage. Did I miss anything, Melissa, or should we jump to the next example?
No, I don't think you missed anything. Does anyone have any questions about that? Cool. Well, we'll show you, take a look at our next option. Another thing we've heard from many firms, especially like litigation firms, is they have a budget for their matters. So let me see if I can think.
Do
Yeah,
you
I
want
want to
to
show
share?
you.
Do you want me to click for you?
Yeah, why don't you click for me?
Okay.
So in this firm, we have three example cases that have a budget. And in fact, we actually have a budget for each phase of the matter. So, when we're in allowance, there's an amount that we've agreed with their client, like we're not gonna like bill you for more than this. And we can see that it's broken out by WIP and build as well. So that's useful when you're like getting ready to bill. Let me take a look and see where we're at in the allowance phase across these cases and see if we're approaching our budget. Because if we are, we may need to have a conversation with our client and say, hey, we've gone a little over budget, that you can kind of expect that on this bill, or like come to an agreement with them about what next steps are. And you'll notice on the right, we have our percentage like towards our budget that's comparing the total for each of these. And this is looking at everything: expenses, fixed fees, time entries. That's totally optional. If you want to break it out by like expenses and services, you can totally do that. But for instance, global architects, I can see that we've gone over budget for our filing phase, like kind of in a significant way. We're $500 over, and we haven't started prosecution yet. So it would be good for me to take a look at this and talk to global architects and say, hey, we've gone a little bit over budget. How do you want to proceed before prosecution? Is this changing your mind about, our kind of our plan for how this case is going to progress? So it's really helpful to have all of this real time as your timekeepers, your attorneys are entering expenses and time entries. It just appears here automatically. And as you bill, it moves over to the bills column. So it's much easier to have this available live at a glance and action on it rather than kind of having to pull data in from a bunch of different systems and compare. Sometimes if you're stuck behind a manual process like that has sort of lead time, you can get very over budget before you realize that you are, and that is a much harder conversation to have with clients.
Nice. Um, yeah, I can just add that was great, Melissa. This is probably like an IP firm, or is this that's probably what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, these budgets here that we have injected in as a custom field can be managed over here. If we look at for the global client that we just mentioned, the field sign here, and you can edit them, and it'll reflect immediately on the report. Like Melissa said, it's all real time as you track time or as you adjust budgets or whatever it is you need to do. It reflects real time over to the reports we have over here. Um, Great. And pausing for questions, but feel free to jump in with questions or anything. Melissa, maybe you can. I don't know if there's any yet. Or
Yeah, it looks like we have a question. I like the budget tracker, and we'll likely use that for the hourly metrics, and especially for data being tracked over time. Have you considered adding a graphical output, like a line plot? I love data,
oh,
but sometimes a picture helps explain to colleagues. Yeah, absolutely. We can. All of this is customizable, so we could, for instance, like if we wanted to have the utilization rate over time, um, we could track that as like a graph, like either like a line chart or a bar chart. Like for example, I don't know if you want to click over to, I think financial performance, or maybe collections has a good example of what this looks like. Yeah. So we could surface it like as a number of hours for each user, or a percentage of their billable goal month over month, or the average percentage of the billable goal across the firm. Um, that is super, super easy to do on our end.
yeah. Just adding, like there's a whole in this sort of underlying reporting um, engine we're using. There are multiple ways to visualize things. Here's a little donut chart showing the breakdown of payment method. We saw another graph up here. We work with clients to give you guys what you need. Some of you prefer the more sort of numbery approach. Some of you prefer maybe a little bit more of a visual approach, and I personally prefer a combination, maybe like a highlight that shows some trends, and then I can drill in. So great question. All right, well let's jump to our final one. We talked about hourly budget. We talked about client budgets. The next one is location. We have different mechanisms in LeanLaw already to organize your data, for example, by practice area. So in this particular, it's kind of a test account, but there's different practice areas, and we assign a matter to a practice area, and there's some other parameters we have. But what if you have a different way of organizing your firm that we don't support? This is where what we call dropdown fields come in, where you can specify a number of set values, and then you can slice and dice your data that way. Um, and I have put in this account here a location um, that's assigned to a matter. Um, if we quickly briefly look at that, the values are Arizona, California, Nevada. So apparently my law firm is operating in those areas. I can then, when you go to my matters page where manage things, I will then have a drop down appear here where I can look at just um, the matters for that location. I can also go to our workflows around, for example, billing or fixed fees or anywhere really. And then I can pick my location here, and then maybe I do a different billing approach, like I do bi-monthly billing in Arizona for some reason. And so I can just look at the matters that way and adjust my workflows based on the location there. And then, of course, you want to be able to slice your data as well. And so if we go back to this picture here, our financial highlights of key KPIs for the firm, like realization rate, collection rate, etc. We want to drill in and see how is Arizona doing compared to California or whatever. We have a custom report here where the location is part of the filtering, and we can see here, okay, California is a little slow to collect apparently. And if we look at Arizona, they are very fast to collect. Actually, we have some firms here that have instant collection because they use trust accounts and retainers for everything. So with our automated workflows, you can essentially collect the same day you bill. So maybe Arizona here has a different approach to things, but anyway, it gives you insights into the different parts of your business that you care about. And I just use location as an example here. Think about how you slice your business, and that would be something we could support with these custom fields and custom reports. Um, just a few other examples of that. I won't go into a lot of details here, but I can just sort of mention some other ideas. We see here, for example, we have this field here associated. It says account here. This really means user. So for each user in the system, we have an employment status. It's either a contractor, employee, or partner. And this might um, affect certain reports or certain things we want to look at in workflows or reporting. And so
Yeah.
so now we can add this and um, and manage our business that way.
Yeah,
Melissa,
it's
you were going to add
useful. Yeah,
something?
it's useful, like especially if you have a large firm with lots of users, and have a permission group like attorney, maybe they can't see rates for other people, and you want to keep that intact, but you need to add a contractor into that permission group because they should have similar access. That might make it tough for you, historically when you're trying to report because there's all these contractors who are labeled attorney, but they're not really filling that position in your firm. Now you can have a secondary layer where you can group users for reporting purposes on like what their actual role is, like as it relates to your compensation versus and maintain that like user permission group of attorney, paralegal, all that good stuff.
Nice. Yes. Um, all right. I mean, we went through, as promised, some examples, some use cases here. Like I said, I hope it sort of triggers some ideas of what you need to do in your business. We went through hourly budgets for users. We went through client budgets and the different phases that you can sort of tag and report WIP and build and budgets on. And then we went through location and some other examples of these drop-down fields that can be used to guide workflows and look at data with different slicings. Let's see. Do we have? I wanted to mention one thing. If there are any, some of you might be clients, some of you might not be clients of LeanLaw yet, but will be soon, I'm hoping. If you are a client, some of this might not show up in your account like this. If you don't see this enabled in your account, please contact us with the chat button that you have down here. I don't have it on this account, but the support button on the bottom right, and we can enable this for you and work with you on your reporting needs. So if you're a client, please go ahead and reach out if you think this is helpful. Let's see. There's a question here from Susan. If so, can you have like the billable goal report, like we saw? What if I want more data in there, like the like PTO, comparing the PTO for each user with an hourly PTO matter that I might be tracking against. So what the way I'm reading this question here is, can I add more data than just one data points in here? And yes, short answer, yes, you can add different goals, different data points, and we can mash it up into one combined report if we need to. Good question. Any other questions out there? Megan asks, can I add expected settlement amount for my cases under a matter? Melissa, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So if you're like working on a contingency basis, like maybe for personal injury or medical malpractice, you can absolutely, we could handle it as a custom field, but we actually have some new functionality coming out to automate like the settlement workflow and produce like the settlement statement for your client and kind of auto calculate your attorney fee and what their net is, track your liens and lien law, all that good stuff. And part of that is that we're adding in expected settlement dates and amounts as just part of the contingent matter data shape. So you'll be able to track those, and we have some pre-built reports to help you kind of forecast out into the future. Like, if everything settles when we're expecting, and for the amount we expect, what's our revenue going to be in, Q4 of next year.
Okay, so you could add it as a custom field and use the reports or workflows that we discussed, but we're just launching some really exciting functionality there that will automate a lot of that. Yeah, so let us know if you're interested in that, and we'll hook you up. Other questions out there? Let's see here. Tom asks, can I track the source of clients, like where based on marketing efforts? Yeah.
If you intake a client and ask them,
right,
where did you hear about us?
Yeah,
or
you can.
I guess, like, if you were referred from an outside law firm,
yeah. So we can say source, or source of client. We can attach it to the client, presumably here, make it a drop-down field, and then we can add the options we need here. For example, it's like ads,
billboard,
Facebook, billboard, conference, etc. Now, when I do that, I can then tag the different clients as part of my intake, and then like we saw earlier, now I'd be able to just filter them down here on various pages and report on it that way.
Yeah, or build a report for the count of clients that were added in the last year from those different sources.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, Excellent questions, and thank you for that. And I think that's that. Are we missing anything, Melissa? Or should we wrap up and give people a few minutes left, a few minutes extra in their day here
Yeah, I
before
don't
the
see any other questions, so I think we're good to go. If you're yeah, like Fred said, if you're a LeanLaw client and you see something here today that's not in your account and you'd like it to be, reach out to your customer success manager, or if you don't know who that is, then reach out through the support chat in the app, and we can help make those things happen.
nice. Well, thanks for attending. And if you think of anything, have any other questions, just you let us know, and we're here to help.
Awesome. Thanks.